coming to you from Australia for Revolution Radio on Revolution dot radio. Dot radio, that's right. It's home, the radio, that is, to fresh, relatively uncensored ideas. I mean, there's no such thing as no censorship, including self-censorship. But it's pretty limited here. Conversations in the chat room are always good, so come on in there. A lot of information is shared, so, pretty cool. And most importantly, though, and this is really most importantly, this station is not actually supported by anyone but you, the listener, or the hosts, producers, etc. So it really helps if you can donate, any form of currency, really, including crypto. Crypto is good. To the station to keep those electrons moving about. That's what we like to see, moving electrons, to make sure the servers keep running, do all those wonderful things. But maybe you can't give money. That's okay. Then tell everybody that you know about the station, and maybe one of those good folk can donate. That would be really, really cool. Now, you can catch the cave on the air, on the line, onto your smart device, or maybe even via psychic radio. Who knows? Or spirit radio, or spirit box. Maybe you can catch it on the spirit box. That would be interesting to find out. So grab an app to listen anywhere, or tune into the ether, or listen at home on a Grace Tabletop Digital Radio. And today is the 29th of August, 2023, which is a completely arbitrary date on a completely arbitrary planet in a completely arbitrary galaxy, which is just the way we like it. Now, what is also cool is, and maybe that will convince you to donate, is that the archives that the station has are absolutely free for you to enjoy whenever you want. So off you go. Before we start broadcasting at you in anger, we would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land from which we broadcast. Dave?
For me, I'm broadcasting out of Dark and Junk Country.
Thank you, sir. And myself, of course, beautiful Pemulwuy, and that's the country of the Darug people. And we would like to pay our respects to elders, past, present, and future. In fact, Pemulwuy was an Aboriginal warrior, and my entire suburb is named after him. Something completely unthinkable, I think, in times gone past.
Do you know, my suburb, Mickey, is called Narara, and it means black snake.
Oh, wow. Is that because
it's red-belly black snake?
Red-belly black snakes?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Those are not good, everybody.
It has a nice diamond python too, which on my YouTube channel I've got. Nice. I pay homage to it. It comes to visit my chickens.
Very nice.
It's about almost 3 meters long.
And it eats many, many eggs, I'm sure.
Well, I expected to call it Lumpy, the snake from The Simpsons. And I counted all the chickens, and they were all there, and there was no lumps in the snake. So it just ate the eggs.
Ralphie!
When somebody help me, and when someone give me a hug, says the snake.
Oh yes.
Yeah, watch those hugs.
Snake hug. That's what you need in your life.
I'm not afraid because it's not poisonous, right? And I've had snakes. I kept snakes for a while. I borrowed them. So my mate who decided he couldn't. Well, he had a girlfriend who didn't like the snakes he had. He brought them to my place just so I could look after them for a while.
You're a snake miner. Love it.
I didn't mind.
Snake
right?
sitter.
Yeah, they're nice. Sitter. Took them out. Held them. Let them get some body warmth from me. They're pretty good. I don't hate on them.
That's good. We should all forgive. All of us. There should be more forgiveness, right? In the world. Sure. Yeah, this is Mackie who doesn't forgive anyone ever.
You got a list. You have a list.
There are lists, my friends. I've got a memory like an elephant. I might not remember why you're on the list, but I remember that you're on it.
What was it called? A Rolodex or something?
That's what they call it. Flip, 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 flip. But yeah, look, things have been interesting is maybe a good word. We found for the first time in known medical history, we found a worm in a woman's brain right here in Australia, in Canberra, in the capital city. That explains so many things.
I sent you the video of it.
Oh, geez, that's
Yes,
it's disturbing.
Do you know what? Mick and I were talking about this today, and it is, how did the worm get into the brain?
Yes.
It was in the frontal lobe.
Yes. Yes. Now, what they're saying is this. Scientists say the woman most likely caught the roundworm, as though she was after it, after collecting a type of native grass, warrigal greens, apparently, beside a lake near where she lives. The area is also inhabited by carpet pythons, whose parasite this worm actually is. Having said that, though, she said she contaminated her forage plants, which she used for cooking, because it became contaminated, the plant again, the cooking, with the egg that was in there somehow. So then those plants that she collected, which had the egg, the parasite on it, she then ate. So she cooked whatever she had, or maybe she had it raw, I don't know. But I didn't know, and this is a new one for me, and happy to be educated, Dave. I didn't know that whatever you ingest, right, like a seed,
like apple
could
seeds,
make its way into your brain, right? I don't know how it would actually do that to get into the brain.
Just remember, there's a lake in Africa that has a parasitic creature that lays its eggs in the soft tissue in your body. Right? And the best scene that I've ever seen, was a snake wrangler doing his darndest to be confronted by the spitting, is it cobra? Right?
Yes, it's spitting cobra,
Yeah. And he's got sunglasses on, which are intensely too small for his eye socket shape, which is hilarious. And thanks, Amiga Logos, there in the chat. Too small for his eyes. They don't cover all his eyes. And he's getting excited, and the thing's spitting at him, the snake. And you can see it hit his forehead, and he's still talking to camera. And then you watch as the venom is now pooling on his brow, and then goes behind the sunglasses on his skin, and there's so much of it, right? It just gets into his eyes, and of course that's the whole goal of the spitting cobra, is that it spits and it's able to, rather than bite you, it can squirt its venom at you, and it has the desired effect of incapacitating you. Hilarious. One more minute. So what happens is he uses up all the way. I mean, it's boiling hot there, right? It's like 100 degrees Fahrenheit, 40 degrees Celsius. And he's pouring all the potable water into his eyes, trying to flush it of the venom. Now I'm going to say he's concealing a lot of that pain. He's really struggling here, right? And it was all live to camera. It's hilarious.
It does not burn like hurting.
We're going to use real acid. I want to see goggles, people. Right? So they had to drive something like 20 miles to the nearest water source, and it just happens to be this lake with the parasite in it. Right? And it's like, everyone knows you don't even go in the water. And here he is, he's running until it's deep enough where his entire, he falls into it. He's scooping it up and washing his eyes to try and relieve the pain from the venom. And even you know how you have Sherpas to climb mountains? They're people that were tracking, like they're trackers or whoever, right? Traveling with the film crew, and going, I wouldn't.
Skinny dipping, everybody.
Yeah. That's going to be a problem, right?
Not for me.
You think you're going to remember the snake venom? No, that's going to go south on you real quick, right?
Oh, very fast.
So fast. Yes, Remember the childhood fear, Mackie? I mentioned the apple seed, of eating the apple seed, and then you imagine that could grow into a plant inside you.
Yes, of course.
Right? Great. It's a great fear for children. Don't eat the apple seed. Well, I mean, arsenic is a cumulative drug, so you probably don't want to keep eating them. Yeah. It's why there's no ground apple seed sprinkles that you could put on food. I wonder, Mackie, because you and me, right? We had this discussion today, and it was, how can it cross the blood-brain barrier?
It must have had a raft.
It hired a raft. Don't pay the ferryman.
It paid the ferryman. Yeah. No, it did not. It didn't. That didn't happen. I mean, this is real. The thing is, what Dave has described earlier was like, so parasites can enter your body in many different ways.
They burrow into your skin or something, and they're in your bloodstream, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it could be an open wound. They go in there. You could ingest it. It could be in your gut.
Urethra, Becky, they'll do that. Yeah. They'll go that direction.
Oh, yeah, there's this really nasty little fish. That's not something. It's the Amazon. It's not something you want to find out about.
Spines. That doesn't come out easy.
Yeah. The extraction of that thing is almost... Anyway, let's not just creeping me out. But the point is...
Oh, and good morning to all of you in Eastern America. It's 7 o'clock. It is 7 a.m.
That's right. Now, but bear in mind, though, right?
A lot of guys are crossing their legs right now. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. You can't have anything cross that barrier. Certainly not anything as large as maybe an egg or larvae or something like that, right? There's just no avenue. Yeah, there's no avenue for it to go. So how did this thing get into her head? So the only logical explanation that I can think of, okay, because it was actually in her brain, not on her brain, but in her brain.
That's right.
Okay, is that
it made a nest.
It was somehow introduced there into her brain, or there's a whole cycle of things we just don't know at all about yet, ever, and we've never seen it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Remember those glands in the nose no one knew about until we started putting, those earbud things into tests for the COVID, right?
In fact, to me, whenever we discover something about the human body that we don't already know, I'll go, what?
It's by accident.
Baking powder? What? No, because, I mean, we've been cutting each other up for thousands of years now, and we're in anger now for a couple hundred years.
You can't imagine we've missed anything.
Yeah, and we've done, this is one thing that I found really amazing. There's a prisoner, I think it was a death row prisoner, and he was killed, and then his body was sort of put into some like a plastic kind of bath.
Yeah, that's that German guy, yeah.
Yeah, and so it was all preserved, like all the cells perfectly preserved. And then he was sliced into like less than a millimeter slices, like his entire body.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about it's really, really thin, and that then built up the entirety of his body, and unless he was missing certain organs, right?
Like a physical MRI. Yeah,
it was astounding. Anyway, the point is finding new stuff in our body. It's just as it would surprise me as much as if we had found a new species of elephant in Australia, like a large elephant, not tiny elephant,
not tiny
big elephant.
No, yep.
Right.
So, we had another lung.
What?
We had another lung somewhere in our body, right? Yeah,
you got
totally.
5 lungs. It's crazy, man.
So yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree. Yeah, it just doesn't seem at all logical, unless, of course, she had. Maybe up the nasal passage. I don't know. I just cannot understand.
It had to have pierced the membrane to the brain.
That's right.
At the very least, it had to have pierced the membrane, right? So if that's possible, okay, all bets off. If it's somehow wriggled, but that would have been intensely painful. So the brain itself doesn't feel any pain.
None.
Okay, just to be clear, it doesn't feel any pain. But the membrane around it feels all the pain.
Yeah, that's it. So when you get a headache, it's actually pressure against that membrane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So honestly, I'm a little that really it freaked me out, man. I'll be honest with you.
Totally. So if there's a few things that I wouldn't like to see on an X-ray or an MRI, That's definitely up there now. I didn't think it was up there, but now after seeing it, that's not a thing that I want to see. I don't want to have that conversation when the doctor goes, I'm I don't know how to put this, Dave, but I think we might have to have a look at this. Here, have a look. Wow, is all that white wriggly thing, that's good, right? No.
Not good.
No,
that's not good ever.
There's a scale, and it's the opposite of good. Yeah.
See, good is over here. You're over there.
That's right. Yeah.
No, but
with my medical history, that would be. I just make jokes about it, I reckon.
Actually, with your medical history, I wouldn't be surprised. Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. I have once again. I have slid. I've slid again.
Don't do that. I've got teeth in my brain. That's teeth in my lungs.
Yeah,
I'm growing teeth
again. So everywhere. The thing is this, right?
For some reason.
All of these things are happening now. There's a whole bunch of new stuff happening, and I'm really worried that we're seeing a whole bunch of things that we haven't seen before. Certainly, SARS-CoV-2 is one where people just drop dead. And stuff just happens to them, and
that's right.
And you got to shrug your shoulder and go, well, there really isn't much we can do here. It's just what happens, right? Then you got brainworms,
wow.
But not just that. There's so many other things which have never happened before that we're now seeing more and more. It might be the weather, but even the stuff that we have control over, like the economy, right? So I was just speaking. I went to a conference today, and I was speaking to some of the people there, and that particular company, this IT company, had let go of 20,000 people globally.
Wow.
20,000. That's more than 5. and that person or that company is sort of getting ahead of the curve. We talked about, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. What's due for all of us? That's right.
Well, I'm a little worried. I'll be honest with you. It's a little because the recession is coming. Now in Australia, we the last financial crisis we rode out because, put simply, we didn't have to worry about it too much because the Chinese were buying all our stuff, so we weren't really hit by the recession. However, now the Chinese economy, especially the building sector,
it's really in strife, and then lending sector.
Yeah, not doing well, right?
Yeah, that's right.
However, so we can now potentially experience a recession,
just like everybody else. That's right.
Just like everybody else. So that's where we are, everybody. This is the thing. It's,
coming down the pike as well. Meg, just remember, we got that new version of COVID coming, which they're radioing ahead everywhere and reminding us that those vaccines are ready to go.
Yeah, that's a little
thanks.
Odd. Like, hey, everybody take more vaccines quickly. And I'll do it now.
Yeah, quick before the new variation comes, or the very new variant. And look, yeah. So look, I'm perplexed, Mackie, with if we can find a new brainworm out of thin air. Do you remember there was a guy that had no brain? Do you remember that one?
Yeah, or large chunks missing. Yeah.
There was almost nothing left. He had, instead of all the big massive brain, there was only like the lizard brain in there. And he was able to cope and learn and do things and just surprises everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, he was still okay. I was like, hey, buddy, you all right? Yeah, man, I'm just, chilling.
Yeah, how you doing?
Enjoying all the, free space in my brain. What? Okay.
Yeah, so that's the joke that my father had once asked me, which I thought these were genuine questions. I had a bicycle, used to ride it, very hilly where I was. And he goes, how's that whistling? I said, what whistling? And I went, he goes, no, not that one. When you ride really fast on your bicycle, how do you cope with the whistling that occurs between your ears? And that's funny, right? As a parent, that's gold. That's parental gold right there. And I had to admit to myself that, hang on a minute, he's making a joke. No, it's my expense there. Thanks, Dad. Right?
That's okay.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. That was funny. I have to admit, my children do the same thing. They have a really hard time with my parental jokes.
Oh, don't
Because
we all?
you're a parent, you're allowed that, right? Dad jokes they're par for the course. So just
100%.
soak it up when they come thick and fast. That's the way it is. You're gonna get those jokes, and you know what? It makes me chuckle on the inside, and hopefully, if you're lucky, maybe you can do the same with your kids. So yeah, so he said that, and I was thinking when we were doing the piece on the guy with no brain. It was, wow, could you imagine? Can you imagine that whistling sound?
Yeah.
That was the first thing that came to mind.
It's an echo. It's not just a whistle, it's a whole orchestra of whistles. No, but now that actually happened a number of times in the past, and this was it's like the I guess the mystery of the missing brain, where people have large chunks of brain missing. It wasn't just the one guy; it happened previously to actually a number of people in medical history, and then I mean, an entire hemisphere was missing, or most of it was missing. Yep. And the question becomes, how? If that is true, right? If that
what does the rest of it do?
Well, what does, in fact, yeah, and do we need any of it?
That's true.
And I always thought of it this way. Bear with me just for a second. Think of yourselves, but especially your brain, as a 4-dimensional shadow of a 5 or 6 or 7-dimensional being. Mm-hmm. So let me put it this way. So a car that drives along the road, any object casts a shadow, right? Now, the 4-dimensional car, and I say 4-dimensional because it has to move through time, is casting a shadow that is 2-dimensional. Well, it's actually 3-dimensional because the shadow also moves through time.
That's right.
Purely geometrically speaking, it's casting a 2-dimensional shadow. Now, a being that was 5, 6, 7-dimensional, right? Hard to imagine.
Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm.
Would also cast a shadow. So we would be like a slice of that being, right? And maybe even an insignificant slice in its entirety of existence. We are a slice, right? Now, we think we are, self-aware. We are the being. That's what we think. But maybe the shadow thinks the same thing. No, I'm going this way because I want to go this way. I'm moving over here because I want to, right? I'm moving up and down the stairs. It's my thing. It's the thing I like to do. And the shadow is not aware of the body that's casting it. Mm-hmm. In a similar way, could it be that we are this 4-dimensional shadow, let's call it, of this higher dimensional being, and we're doing all the things, but we're not really doing anything except maybe follow in whatever that higher dimensional being is doing, which is probably completely beyond our comprehension, because the shadow could never comprehend the 2-dimensional world. The 3-dimensional world. It's just not built that way, right? And similarly,
flatland. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the question becomes, well, how much of the shadow is required for us to be functional, if that were the case, and maybe part of the brain that isn't here is somewhere else. If you
they say that through the telepathy experiments that we are able to instigate entanglement between brains.
Yes, correct. Remember that we just finished it.
Oh yeah.
Now, in my see, this is the interesting thing. The study that was conducted by the Chinese, referred back to a whole bunch of other studies, mm-hmm. of which we couldn't find anything except some stuff that was on the freedom of information.
It's a mention of, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, mm-hmm. but the actual things themselves, no. And then even the articles that mention them, somebody neglected to copy like 4 pages.
That's right. Well, that's the important pages.
Yeah. And but the point is, they talked about telepathy as an established fact.
That's right.
Right? They didn't. The experiments they conducted weren't about is telepathy real? No. They wanted to find out what causes it. What is the reason? What is the mechanism of telepathy? And that's when the whole quantum mechanics thing came, right? And they talked about different states and et cetera, et cetera. They said, well, with our experiments, we feel we've proven quite significantly that it is in fact the quantum function, et cetera, et cetera. Listen to the show if you want to know more. But the point is, there was no question as to the existence of telepathy. Yeah, it's a thing. But how? How does it work? Whereas in the West, we're still struggling with the concept, Dave. Oh, telepathy, only with a chip, says Elon Musk. Only with a chip. It'll be my chip. Thank you very much.
Well, if I could instruct him where he can put the chip, and say that on radio, that'd be great. But I can't.
Oh, so true. So true. And again, we said it before, but none of these people have ever really done anything that would warrant them being admired. In my opinion, because they've stolen everything. The Elon Musks of the world. Yes.
Yeah. No, I totally hear it. There was something today, Meki. There was a huge 7.1 earthquake that occurred 500 kilometers deep, just above Australia, by the way. And there is a huge zone now where it's likely we could see a shallower, greater earthquake occur, and I hope that it doesn't happen, but history says that it does. So anywhere from Japan all the way down to the Southern Ocean, including and around Australia and everything, off to Tonga, and I forget how far west it goes, nearly to India. So yeah, it's pretty big a swath of where the we could be seeing an 8 or a 9, usually in a 1 magnitude higher. So that was something that I wanted to bring out today, because it's relevant today and through till next week, probably a 7-day window. And yes, if you know who I'm talking about that offers these warnings, it's only a warning. It's Dutch Since. You should listen to his channel. He's actually pretty good. Out of all the people who do this, he's the one who has the most accurate predictions. Everyone else poo-poos it. Scientists poo-poo it. Oh, you can't predict earthquakes. What are you, mad? You're mad. Right? No. Yeah. Well, you can, because he's got video proof, and he does call it. And between that many days, there is one of the magnitude that he's talking about. So, you can't call all the new ones, but all the ones who are created via wave functions, you can see, and it all makes sense. I was going to say, Becky, there was another point. Whoa. It's been such a big day today of having to travel all the way to the city.
Oh, yes, you did. Yes, you
it's
did.
4 hours out of my day of traveling time, right?
Yes,
yeah. Laugh it up, yeah. I wanted to mention this. Trump's mugshot.
Yes.
Did you know in the state in which he had to have the mugshot, it's actually stated that you may not need one if you are publicly known.
Yes.
And that a photo of you would be superfluous because you have a certain look, there is something about you, rah, 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 rah. And it pretty much goes, you're an individual that everyone could identify with one eye open. Pretty much around the world.
Yep.
No need for a mugshot. But what they've done is they've actually created with this mugshot and this last indictment was capturing a brand new audience, which I don't think the Democrats really knew what they were saying, what they were doing.
That's exactly right. It was that mugshot.
Yeah,
100% correct. Go on.
So the African American community has absolutely joined side. I've seen a whole bunch of pop vox of people being interviewed on the street and being asked their opinion now from before and now, and they say he's going through what we've been through.
Yeah.
He is now being chased like it's an undaunting pursuit of him, just like, was it Indonesian opposition that was arrested so that the person didn't have any opposition and they had their 34th year in power?
Yeah, That's what I
And why doesn't people see that? Why?
So the thing is this: the key thing to being elected American president is recognition. That's the key thing: recognition. People have to recognize you. There's a third runner-up in every election that I've witnessed over the last few years. There's a third runner-up to the Democratic and the Republican candidate, and it's actually he's a libertarian. He runs for president, I think, almost every year, right? And he's the third person on the percentage list. But nobody knows him. People that know him and think, yeah, I think we should have him. He's good, blah blah. But there's like 1 or 2% that vote for him, right?
Yeah.
Now, Trump already is well known, but all the publicity he's getting now with the trials, with the mugshot, with the arrests, that's gold. There's no such thing as bad publicity.
It's only doing him favors right now.
Yeah, and don't forget. I'm not making comparisons here, but I want you to realize that Hitler wrote Mein Kampf in jail. Right? No, but the point is, and then he went and ran for office when he came out of jail.
Yeah.
And his party formed a coalition with the I guess the center right under Hindenburg. Hindenburg was president. He was chancellor. Hindenburg died, and then the Reichstags burned down the Reichstags building, and then boom, he declared an emergency. Boom, done. Here I am. All good. So this happens. This stuff. So don't think just because he's now he's being pursued and all that. That's bad for him. That's really, really good for him. Not only that, even if he were found guilty, and he can't pardon himself for state offense, by the way, even if he ended up in jail, there is nothing that stops him from being the president.
That's right.
Okay. Now think about that just for 1 second.
But you know that's a state offense that he has that is unpardonable. Yeah. But is it the mayor? Whoever it is that leads the state, right?
The governor.
The governor has the ability to pardon him.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Right? So even though all of this is it seems like it's all to his demise, no, I don't see that. I see, even for myself, I see this guy who is relentlessly pursued for something to try and stop him from running. Please, says the Democrats. Won't someone stop him? And they've tried everything.
Somebody started.
I don't think anyone's going to stop him from running.
No.
And the other thing is, can they make RFK? Can they make him strong enough to defeat Trump? They're trying, because there was a lady trying to silence RFK in a what looks like a Senate hearing or something, and she was trying really hard, and the chair said, "No, I'm going to give him the time to answer that question." I mean, you asked the question, and now you don't want him to answer? No, go ahead, RFK. Yeah, you can say this. So they're trying to beat RFK about the head, and then show, look how strong he is. I think that's their only opposition. But having said that, even I feel sympathy for Trump right now. Because every other president has got papers at home and top secret. Even Biden had them in 3 places. Beside the bed, in the garage, at his workplace.
But do you remember the Clinton server? The email server?
Yeah, that's right. I know.
That was much worse.
Yes, that's right. I know. And Obama took them home as well. Everyone's done it. Is it really as bad? I remember Biden, before his documents were discovered, he was calling out just how darn bad it is that Trump had any of these documents, and then they found all his ones, and then he kind of went quiet. I think they're trying to rebrand as well, just for another political thing. Kamala Harris. They're really trying very hard to rebrand her, and I really don't. I don't think even if you put lipstick on it, it's not going to work. That's the lipstick on a pig. I'm really not saying she's a pig. I'm just saying it doesn't matter what you do there. I don't think that's going to ever win. she can't ever come back from, laughing about the border and the lies and what do you mean? I don't understand,
no.
right?
So
We've been to the border.
Is she running with him?
I don't even know. To be honest, I don't care. I don't care who the left put up. And there's a whole bunch of really cool media coming out right now. You know what? There's no one really following Trump's campaign. And I've been watching the videos of where he's at, and there's a lot of people, a lot of supporters, which is it's a real turnaround to actually see them in the media. But granted, you're never going to see any of that on CNN, and if you're polarized and you're watching only the CNN footage, then they're laughing. They're laughing at him, trying to make anything ridicule without taking into account the people that they're supporting have been doing the same thing or worse. It really, honestly, it is Hunger Games, Becky. That's all I see. I can't help it. I can't take the filters off. I'm perpetually wearing those sunglasses from your favorite movie, and I'm only seeing it for the truth.
And that's the thing, though. Right? Once you have opened your eyes, it's really tough to unsee it. And now, speaking of the truth, I came across recently a video. There was actually 2 videos.
Mm-hmm.
They were posted, I think, by Gerber. I think.
Yep.
I'll share it again. You can have a look at it as well. But this is around the fires in Maui.
Mm-hmm.
And like we said before, it made no sense that certain houses didn't burn. But now it appears that certain cars didn't even have heat damage.
Yeah, I saw that.
Around them, everything is burned to a cinder. And if you think if the heat is strong enough, then if the heat is strong enough everywhere, then the heat should be strong enough to get this car that is right next to the other car as well.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah.
But no. And in fact, now there's some footage has surfaced, and I don't know if it's true, everybody, but it looks like a directed energy weapon.
Yeah.
They actually captured the beam on video.
Mm-hmm.
Is it true? I don't know. But the damage that was sustained by the buildings and the cars is incongruent with the fire.
Yeah, that's
or
right.
At least the way I understand how fires move. And of course, freaky things can happen. I get it. And some people are just lucky, and all good, get it. But some of this just, if it is that hot that it melts the rims of the tires,
yeah,
the car next to it cannot be unscorched.
Mm-hmm.
Just doesn't work that way.
If you were to stand there next to it in the proximity of the other things burning, you would have damage.
Well, yeah, it's what it reminds me of?
What's that?
Spontaneous combustion.
Oh, I loved that when I was a kid.
Yeah, and I still love it. There've been theories have been advanced, but none have ever satisfactorily explained how. How it actually works, and why none of the stuff around the burned body, as it were, or even certain parts of the body haven't burned, or even show any heat damage, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can talk about smoldering and slow fat burning and a whole bunch of stuff. Now, while this holds true for certain cases, absolutely, other cases are completely inexplicable. Makes no sense at all.
Mm-hmm.
What?
I've been fascinated by that one for such a long time, since I was little.
So is it possible that we're looking at spontaneous combustion here only of, I guess, geography, as it were, right? Where, yes, there's a wildfire, sure, but the wildfire or the fire, I don't know why they call it wildfire. Fire is a fire, but whatever. It's just it's a new thing, like superstorm. Oh, it's a superstorm. Oh, okay. And the question becomes, why does it not then follow the laws of physics or thermodynamics? Any of that, right? Like, why? Why not? Everything else is ash. This thing, untouched.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Ash.
I've watched all the footage. I've watched all the footage that I can see, showing the people escaping into the water and then breathing through clothing that's been wet, so they don't suffer from smoke inhalation, and they're trying to submerge themselves just enough so they can breathe, but stay cool and protected from the embers and everything. Frightening stuff, Becky. You wouldn't want to be there it wasn't and was not an enjoyable thing. To have the streets blocked off and not allowing people to escape the fire zone was terrible. To have the water cut off so no one could extinguish the flames is another atrocity. Then for there not to be anything except for the federal government saying we're going to redevelop this land and sell it to the developers, and rather than supply each person, there's enough money, Mickey. They've sent enough money to Ukraine, for crying out loud, to save democracy, right? That's all really it is. So that and the area in which everything's been burnt through could easily be rebuilt through government funding. Easily.
Oh,
they could have exactly what they wanted, or with 10% change, right? Whatever you wanted.
Yeah. But see, this is the thing, right? And this is where the cynicism comes into it. So your country is already your country. These are all your people already, right?
Yeah.
They can't go anywhere because they're in your country. They're paying taxes, whatever. And if you look after them, you should. But hey, I want to increase my sphere of influence. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to help some foreign countries. Yeah. Now they owe me. Look at me, spreading my influence. And that's really what it's about. I mean, it's not honestly. Okay, Yemen. There's been a war going on forever, but nobody cares because number one, Saudis are conducting that war.
That's
number
right.
one. And number two, there really isn't anything in Yemen that anybody wants.
Well, if we get the Saudis offside, we don't get any fuel.
There you go. Right. So that's you can't really do that.
No.
So the next thing then is but Ukraine. That's in Europe. There's white people there. They're Christian. And Russia is invading. Sweet.
We've always hated on the Russians, so
Yeah, and we can test our weapons, and it's going to be billions of dollars for the industrial military complex. Oh, this is just a winner all around.
I know.
So this is never about anything that we would consider humanitarian. Okay, if it were, then what happened in New Orleans after Katrina wouldn't have happened.
Would never have happened, and this now
what
still
is happening
would not have happened.
Yeah, what's happening in Australia now in the flood-affected areas around the world, around our country, where people are still waiting for
even the
compensation.
fires
By
from
the way,
2019, people haven't got the money to rebuild yet.
Bingo, right? And we were really good though. In the 50s, just after the war, there was a really bad. I think it was 50s or 60s. I can't remember, but there was a really bad storm up top.
Oh
right?
Yes.
I think it was Darwin, and
Cyclone
it was
Tracy.
devastating. Yeah, within a week or two, it was done. It was handled. People had been flown out. There was a guy that used to be in the military in World War II. He came in on the ground. He directed everything. He handled it, and it was done. It was done. Now, we can't even clean up after. We can't even shop after a flood. I mean, we are so. We're so. What's the word? We've become so incompetent.
That's it. That pretty much sums up our governments, yes, collectively.
Yes. Yeah. It has become...
They can go to war in a jiffy, right? But they can't fix things. There's no fixing something that's broken. We'll just buy another one. Oh, look, who's got the most money? Oh, good, you? Great. Well, you can redevelop the entire area.
So you're talking about just-in-time government, eh?
Yeah, that's right. All right, so I've heard, but I can't substantiate the rumor that there were already trenches with the burned victims, the deceased, being just buried rather than ID'd and regularly processed.
Really?
Yeah. So look, until it's substantiated, I don't want to go too much further, and blame any particular organisation on it. But I just think that, well, wow, you know what? You're on an island where people have a connection to the land and the sea and the weather, and the stories that have been passed down for more years than I'd be willing to admit. And to do this with people there in one of the most happy, friendly communities you could possibly ever imagine. You would want to live there in Lahaina. Talk to me 5 years ago. I would want to go there because it's a small enough town. Everyone knew each other. It just thrived. It was fantastic. And now it's gone. It's so sad. So be careful. Try not to donate money to anything you see as GoFundMe's, because it could be scammers just throwing their 2 cents in, trying to wrestle money out of your hands. Which is also just atrocious. I can't believe people do this, but they're going to. Right. And if there was any way that I could help, I would. Not financially. I mean, I'd go there and I'd help stack bricks and clean bricks, and let's get the cement poured, and let's build the buildings back to what they were, and let's do that. Can't we do that? I mean, really? You don't have to build it back historically correct, like real, like it's a movie set. No, but you can build it back to an operational center without having, investment, people coming in with big dollars, and then all they're going to do is charge you rents that you can't afford, and it'll destroy the town. Only for other people to move in who will have the money. And if you think about how a small town can change by the injection of money, but only to support more money, rather than the thriving community you once had that was a fully, perfectly knit community that all worked. Think about how that might affect where you live. Think about these poor people who have lost friends. And look, I think it's awful. And if it was, Meki, directed energy weapons, and not downed electrical wires, which I like that was posted in there by Amiga Logos, what are we really staring at here? Because, Turkey, Greece, where is it? Canada. Everywhere has been on fire that we would normally not see on fire.
I got a theory that just came to me. Ever since we've started building cities, there's been a distinct notion that we should move everybody in the cities, like as many people as possible. All people just moved anyway. Is it not possible that we are now creating areas that are deemed uninhabitable or uninsurable, which ultimately
that happens too? Yeah.
So all these massive tracts of land are no longer inhabited by humans, right? Someone is going to own it, and everybody else is going to be concentrated in these massive tower living arrangements. And if you think about it just for a second, that's happening in Australia right now. And Australia was never a country of renters. It was always a country of people that had their home.
That's right.
A house. Right? That was the dream. Get a house in the suburbs, etc., etc. Almost impossible for most people these days. So everybody becomes a renter. And and now what's happening all around Sydney, but not just Sydney, elsewhere as well, all the major cities, they're building these massive high rises, apartment buildings, etc. And I always want, and they're also massively investing in infrastructure, which allows for higher population concentrations along that transport hub or along the the infrastructure. Whereas we pull everybody else back from nature as well, from other areas of the land. So you've got concentrations of populations, right? And you've got all this free land all of a sudden everywhere else, right? And as you move forward, you're living in a flat anyway, so it's not really your flat, right? And you will never own a flat, so you'll actually own nothing. Again, this is sort of where the
you're going to be happy. I can smell it.
You're going to be happy, and you want to visit a park? Yeah, look, it's too dangerous. You really shouldn't go into a park. Just enjoy the nature strip, just outside your building. There's a tree, a bit of astroturf. Come on, it's enough. Because I can actually see that happening, to be honest with you.
Did you know that there's lymphoma now connected with astroturf?
Is that right?
Yeah. And it's because of the ground up tires that are the underlay, apparently. So that's really bad. Even I was telling Meki today, because we met up for the first time, like ages, right? I was telling you about the chemicals within the straws now, the paper straws that we have, which plastic are actually safer to humans than the paper straws, oddly, because they contain those chemicals which will be inevitably the forever chemicals that we have in our environment already, which is they're never going away. They're in the rain, they're in the snow, and there's nowhere else to go. I think that's the lyric. And they're everywhere. You can't escape them now. Even in places where there aren't any civilization, when it does rain, the forever chemicals are there. And the micro particulates are there as well. So the paper straws, while we think we're doing really well for like the single tortoise every once in a while, or turtle that gets it stuck in its nose, right? The rest of us are all it's going to be our demise, apparently. So do have a look at that. And I was trying to tell some people the other day, Mackie, about acrylamide. No one, we did a show, no one listens to me when I talk about acrylamide. They go, I've never heard of that chemical. Well, type it in. Just type it into any browser or on YouTube and you'll see air fryers, acrylamide. And if you do the deep research, you'll find anything above 180 degrees Celsius. Do the math wherever you live. And there's things you can prevent the amount of acrylamide being made by soaking potatoes, for instance. Chicken skin, usually, you can oil it and prepare that in a way that it won't produce as much acrylamide. Similarly to those, remember those electric fry pans? Where you could shallow fry stuff?
Yeah.
They went above 180 degrees.
Easily.
And I'm positive, Mackie, that there's cancer that was made by acrylamide that was never identified as a source. And we're in the new boom of cancer-producing chemicals and forever chemicals. That's wonderful, isn't it?
Well,
no, not acrylite. It's acrylamide.
Acrylamide, yeah. So on the off chance of sounding callous, our medical establishment is not designed to heal you, to make you, to make you hale again, but it is designed to treat you, to make you better, right? And for as long as possible to extract as much money out of you as possible as well. So there's never any intention to make you well, as it were.
No.
We just want to manage your disease.
Yeah, that's right.
Because we give you things. We mask your symptoms. So you got a headache. I'll take a Panadol. Okay, so but what caused my headache? Who cares?
That's right, because the Panadol, that works, right? Yeah, it did.
Irrelevant. And this is really interesting. Asian or Eastern medicine is different in that it looks at lifestyle management. If you follow Ayurvedic medicine or traditional Chinese medicine or any of the Eastern kind of medicine schools, if you will, it's all about lifestyle management. There are no miracle cures, right? There are certain radical interventions that you can undertake, absolutely, but it's about keeping you living well for your whole life with herbs and teas and acupuncture, etc., etc. And Western medicine is all about the sledgehammer approach, making you feel better now, right now. I'm feeling bad. Okay, take these. Oh, I feel better. I can still function in the machine. And that's really what the advertising is all about. You see people that are, hay fever or they got a cold or flu or whatever. They take, whatever zips and tabs and whatevers, whatever medicines. And, oh, look, I can go back to work. Hurrah!
Soldier on, man.
That's all it is about. And if you die, I don't know, just before retirement or just after retirement, brilliant. That's the perfect model for the capitalists is this. You're born, you go into a school that will prepare you to work in the machine. That's you. You're going to be working in the machine. Mm-hmm. And, then you're for 30 years, 40 years, whatever, we're going to extract whatever we can out of you, right? You might not even like it. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter. But you have to, this is what it is. You have to just do that. Okay, so you're part of the machine. Are you on a pension? Well, yeah, it's all taken care of, don't worry. But we work you so hard and expose you to so many chemicals and we treat you all wrong and give you bad medical advice and bad medical treatments that you're probably not going to see your retirement.
That's
or if you do see it, you're not going to survive long in it. So it saves me paying your pension. It saves me from high medical bills,
Oh, that's
etc.,
grand.
etc.
What a grand picture you have there.
But that is the capitalist ideal. Well, actually, that's not true. The ideal model is slavery. That's the ideal model
1
for
minute.
capitalism. Yeah. So we're one step up from slavery, Dave. Hurrah! bully to us.
Woohoo! Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
It's just nuts. But
There's only 1 minute to go.
Try not to eat too many fried foods. Is what we will say to you. I would, or processed for the matter. Don't have processed food if you can avoid it, please. And look, this has been Plato's Cave. We very much appreciate for you to tune into us and invite us into your homes and listen to our band for an hour. Something is going to come up, so don't touch that. Whatever you're listening from, don't touch it. Keep listening. And we'll speak to you again on Thursday, unless I black out again, in which case it will only be Dave. And most of all, be safe.